What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of It Like Strev. We're talking about the CFL Week 4. Let's address the elephant in the room. We got a microphone. All right, the audio quality should be significantly better. We're figuring out the technology. We're figuring out the audio. We're making strides. Like I said at the beginning, guys, I'm not a content guy. I'm definitely not a technology guy. I'm learning this in real time with you guys. So hopefully the end product comes out better than last week when I was on vacation, sitting on a porch. Just not the best, not the most ideal situation. But here we are back in the home studio. We got the mic, we got the camera rolling. We are live. Listen, it's been another very exciting week of CFL football. Every single game, one score game. These are tight football games coming down to the wire, decided by just a couple plays here and there, whether it's a turnover, whether it's a special teams explosive. I've said it every single week, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you're not watching CFL this summer, you are missing out. So get dialed in. This week we had multiple 400-yard passers. All right, we've got these veteran quarterbacks that are playing absolutely out of their mind. Guys are seeing the field, not turning the ball over. It's been extremely impressive. And again, it's never been a better time to be a fan of the CFL. It's never been a better time to be a fan of the CFL than it is right now. Let's get into some of these games this week because I can't wait to talk about them. So many exciting games, again, coming right down to the wire. We started off on Thursday night, Edmonton going to Winnipeg. I don't think anybody had Edmonton sitting at 3-0 after the first 3 games of the season. It's their first time being 3-0 since 2017. They're just a well-rounded football team. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The way that Justin Rankin is running the football right now, we've talked about him since week 1 when he went out and dominated against Ottawa. But every single week, he's rushing for over 100 yards. It's the first time in a long time that somebody has gone out the first 3 weeks of the season and rushed for 100 yards. Again, I said it last week. I'll say it again. He's looking like an early season MOP candidate. Edmonton came out. They really dominated the first half. If you go back and watch that film, there is probably 2 touchdowns that they left on the field. They could have really ran away with this game in the first half. They got stopped on a 3rd and 6, completed a ball down to like the 1-yard line. Now Winnipeg ended up fumbling it on the next play and giving it back to them, but those were points that they left on the board and then just not converting deep in the red zone. That's what Fajardo said coming out of halftime. They interviewed him. He said, "Hey, if we convert these points, this is a different ball game." So it's insane to see Edmonton at 3-0 going in and handling that first half the way that they did and leaving that many points on the field. Again, talking about Fajardo, we talked about him last week, just not getting the love that he deserves in terms of being a winner and being a leader for that team. He just plays clean football, man, and he does a great job extending plays, especially in these second and long type situations. There was a couple back-breaking conversions that he made later in the game in the second half where it's 2nd and 15. He rolls out of the pocket, throws a comeback on the sideline, and they're keeping a drive alive. Those are back-breaking conversions. If you're on the other side of it and you're Winnipeg and you think you've got him at 2nd and 15, you're about to get off the field. And there he goes, extending plays, gets out of the pocket and makes a smart play. Again, just taking care of the football, playing really smart football on his end. And that's what winning football looks like. I was with a guy by the name of Matt Nichols at Winnipeg early in my career, and we were like 8-2 early in the year one year, and everyone's just like, man, it's not flashy football. It's not necessarily sexy, but we're winning football games. So we got these hats that said game manager on them. And he kind of, some people take that as a dig, but man, you manage the football game, you make the right plays, you make clutch plays and go help teams win games. That's what a quarterback does. And then they need a drive at the end of the game to go down and win. Throws a game-winning touchdown pass with a minute left in the game. Just can't say enough about the type of football he's playing right now. When you look at Winnipeg on the other side of the coin, just self-inflicted wounds, missing kicks, which Big Poppy, best kicker in the league. I told him that every single day I saw him when I was in Winnipeg. He doesn't miss 2 kicks in a game. I can't ever remember him doing that. And then fumbling the football. The one to Brady's tough. He gets smacked, not really looking. He can't really see the 3-tech slipping inside the guard and gets banged. That happens. Dembski fumbles in traffic. Zach gets sacked and fumbles. And then we have the rookie trying to hurdle a guy and fumble the ball. It's just uncharacteristic of Winnipeg. And if they want to get back on track, they just need to clean that stuff up because honestly, their offense looks solid. When they're in tune, when they're all dialed in and connected, they're moving the ball. And that's what they're going to need to do this week when they go to Hamilton. Tough place to play. They've already played them once this year and lost. So they're going to have to clean up some of those things. And I think they will. They're obviously a well-coached team. They've got veteran leadership. They know what it takes coming on a long week this coming week to do what needs to be done to clean things up. So really excited for Edmonton being 3-0. Winnipeg, they're still in an okay position with what they have on offense and on their team. They just got to clean things up a little bit. All right, let's jump over to Sask. Toronto at Sask on Friday night. This was an unbelievable game. It was a weird road home game for Toronto with the World Cup going on. And honestly, I tweeted this out, but the stands looked a little bit light in Regina. I don't know what's going on out there this year, and I hope that they can continue to get 30+ thousand games because it's better for the league. It's better for everybody when Sask has their fans rolling, packing out that stadium. But look, Toronto, man, that offense looks explosive. They're explosive. Chad Kelly goes for 320, 3 total touchdowns. And you know what I really like? I like this Tyler Common kid, this rookie kid. He's got 4 touchdowns through 3 games, came up with another big touchdown at the end of the game to kind of ice things. It was Luke Wilson did a great job illustrating it. I couldn't tell if it was hold on the broadcast or if it was just quarters with a low half. But either way, halfback was low. Common saw that, stayed vertical on his seam route. Chad Kelly, obviously not afraid to push the ball down the field, saw it immediately, quick hitch up, got the ball on him for a touchdown. And that was the second touchdown of the game. Just a guy that's really having a great start to his career. It looks like he's going to be a pivotal piece to this Toronto receiving core. I mean, you talk about the guys that they have. We've talked about Hamilton being an explosive receiving core, but I think you got to put Toronto right up there with Hamilton and Sask in terms of best receiving cores in the league. They've got, like I said, Tyler Common, they've got Coxie, they've got Polk, they've got Unger, and they've got Mattel. I mean, that is a great 5 receivers right there. Any of those guys can hurt you, and they all have such a different role in that offense. It's very exciting to watch them play football, especially with the way that Chad Kelly is not afraid to push that football down the field. And only 1 interception by Chad Kelly this week. Now, it was in the first quarter, down in the end zone. You don't want to throw picks in the red zone, obviously, but to clean it up after last week, throwing 4 interceptions, to come back out and play that type of clean football and come up with some big drives, really good job by Chad Kelly bouncing back there. I mean, it was a back and forth game. It really came down to really 2 situations. Number one, Toronto getting the ball back before halftime. It was like 24 seconds left, and they go 2-play drive, end up scoring a touchdown. And I'm sitting at home watching the game, and I'm like, it's one of those where you're like, no. Yes, because there's 8 seconds left. They snap the ball. Chad Kelly looks left. He's got a hitch and go. Doesn't have it. Ends up rolling out to the right. I'm looking at the clock. 3, 2, 1, 0. There's zeros on the clock. He's still got the ball in his hands. Throws it, finds a receiver back across his body. There's nobody there. Just ends up slithering right into the end zone for a touchdown with 0 seconds left. But as a football IQ, from a football IQ standpoint, as a former quarterback, I'm sitting there watching like, oh my gosh, they're going to run out of time. They're going to get no points. Ends up being a huge swing there before the half where they can then go score a touchdown. Then Sask kicks the ball back to them coming out of half, and they're able to double up a little bit there. So that was a huge sequence of events. And then you talk about the turnover by Sask late in the game. Trevor Harris throws a little 6-yard under route. Pickett's carrying the inside seam vertically, doesn't come off and match, but ends up hustling to the football and puts his shoulder down on the ball, forces a fumble late in the game. Toronto ends up driving down and scoring and going up by 2 scores late in the fourth quarter, and ultimately that was kind of the difference in the game. Got to talk about Trevor Harris really quickly because he is playing out of his mind, extremely clean football. Been calling him the sheriff because I just love the way he sees the field. He's just so in control. Seems to know exactly what's going on out there. He throws for 409 and 2 touchdowns. I still feel like Sask is the team to beat right now. You lose a tough one to a really explosive, hot team. They just look very dynamic on offense. AJ Ouellette wasn't even playing in the game. As long as their offensive line can clean up, because Toronto did get some pressure in this game, and you got to keep Trevor Harris clean. But if their offensive line can stay stout, I think Sask is going to be a problem in the West. But Toronto, awesome win by them in their home game on the road. And again, their offense looks extremely explosive. Then we've got our Saturday night, Calgary at BC, our touchdown Kelowna. That environment looked amazing. And I put a breakdown up on TikTok and a couple other platforms just about that game. And so many people responded back that they were at the game saying how unbelievable the atmosphere was. I'm disappointed. I was actually supposed to go out there, shout out to Moj. They're having a golf tournament for BC. He invited me. I had the dates mixed up. I thought it was July 29th. It's actually tomorrow, which you'll be seeing this today. It's on Monday. I was supposed to go out there for the BC Lions golf tournament. Never been to Kelowna. I heard it's absolutely amazing. So I had a little bit of FOMO watching that, seeing that environment. It just looked absolutely electric and really cool to see BC be able to pack that whole stadium out and bringing in all those people in stands. Looking at this game coming in, I said this feels like a must win. I mean, both teams sitting at 0-2. You don't want to move to 0-3 in a West Division that has historically been extremely competitive and looks to be competitive again this year. But it was a back-and-forth game, really. BC did a great job hanging in it, despite the fact that they came out sluggish. You look at some of the penalties early. You look at a fumbled kickoff early, and another fumbled kickoff going into halftime, and then they let a kick bounce early in the game. Just offsides penalties, just things that you just have to clean up if you want to be a winning football team. It's just that simple when you're in a must-win game in the West. And they, for how sloppy the beginning of the game was, they were really able to keep it competitive until really late in the third quarter, when Vernon Adams was able to hit Tevin Jones on a big touchdown pass. That put him up 2 scores, and then BC ends up punting to Tariq McAllister, who coming onto the scene aggressively with a couple kick returns here in back-to-back weeks, had one against Sask as well. He's electric, ends up cribbing one, makes it a 3-score game, and Calgary never really looked back. Although BC kept fighting. I have to say that. They kept fighting throughout the game, even though Calgary went up 3 scores halfway through the fourth quarter there. But Vernon Adams, shout out to Vernon Adams. Look, stats are not going to necessarily jump off the page. 230 yards, which is a great game. But in a league right now where guys are throwing, we got multiple guys throwing for 400 yards in a game, 230 yards isn't jumping off the page, but 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. If Vernon Adams can continue to play clean football and extend plays the way that he does and use his legs in critical situations, Calgary's going to be a dangerous team, because Vernon Adams is a great quarterback, and when he takes care of the football, we've seen him before playing at an extremely, extremely high level. And so I hope that he can keep that up throughout the season, because it's fun to watch him play when he's taking care of the ball and orchestrating that offense. And then with their running game too, the sky's really the limit for that team. If they can keep Dietrich Mills rolling on the ground and Vernon Adams can play clean football, that's a really good looking offense. Let's talk about Nathan Rourke really quick, because he threw for a career-high 462 yards and 3 touchdowns. Look, BC needs to get their run game going. There's no doubt about it. They've only had 9 handoffs in this game, and it's very difficult. And I know you're playing from behind a lot of the time, and they've lost a few games, so you get caught passing the ball. But if you want to have balance and you want to be able to control the game a little bit, where you're not in these crazy shootouts where it comes down to 1 interception or 1 turnover, just got to run the ball a little bit and control the clock a little bit as you continue to go through the season and try to control the game. And again, if you get into playoff football and it starts getting cold, you got to have a run game behind that, and can't just rely on throwing for 462 yards a game. Now, I need to go on a quick little rant here, because I put something out about Nathan Rourke throwing for 462 and the numbers that he did and how he's not the issue for this team, and he's not. But I had so many people comment back, say, oh, that was garbage time. That was garbage time. Didn't matter. And I said this on Twitter, but I got to say it again here. There's 2 pieces of that. Number one, and just generally, I've always hated the term garbage time. Look, this is professional football, and if you think that anybody on that field isn't trying at a given point in time, you're wrong. Every time, doesn't matter what the score is, when you go into the building after a game, win or lose, you're going to watch every single play of that game, and your coach is going to coach you hard on every single play of that game, regardless of the score. And especially when you're down, they're going to look at effort, because they're going to look at those guys and say, who's willing to keep fighting even when we might lose? That says more about your team than anything else. So the idea that guys might not have been trying on Calgary later in that game when they were up 3 scores, and that's why Nathan Rourke was able to throw for those yards, I think that that's just absolutely insane. Schematically, you're up 3 scores with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Yeah, that's a big lead, but I've seen teams come back and win in the CFL down 3 scores in the fourth quarter. I've been on the other side of it. I was on Winnipeg when Montreal came back against us in the fourth quarter. Vernon Adams threw for 520 yards, and we lost. We were up 21 points in the fourth quarter. We lost, right? So I've seen it happen with my own 2 eyes. I've been on the other side of it, and I've also been on the other side of games where we've come back and won those games. So to think that a team's not trying in that situation, again, just is incorrect. Now, they may play a little bit softer on defense. Yeah, they don't want to get beat over the top. Obviously, that's just situational football. Maybe they're not bringing cover 0. Maybe they're not blitzing as much, but they're still playing their game. They're still playing defense. So those numbers are very legit. Again, Nathan Rourke's not the issue. I hate to go off on a tangent there, but again, the term garbage time, it just drives me up a wall, because this is professional football. Everyone's trying to put good things on tape. Everyone's trying to put food on their family's table. I digress. Let's talk about the last game of the week that just finished up tonight. I'm recording this on Sunday night. Ottawa at Montreal. look, Ottawa battled. They battled. They stayed in the game. Jake Maier throws for over 300 yards. It's just unfortunate that they can't find a way to win these football games. They end up falling short 37-35. But, man, they're still fighting, and that tells me that there's still life in that locker room. That says a lot to me about their leadership because, with the trade to Drew Brown last week and everything that's kind of been going on with the narrative around this team, it would be easy to start to pack it in, especially in a game in Montreal where you're going down 2 scores in the fourth quarter and you keep battling back. And they did that, and to me that says a lot about the leadership and the quality of players and people that they have in that locker room. Tyson Philpott, 12 catches, 198 yards. He's the league leader, and he's on a ridiculous pace. He signed an extension this offseason. They were kind of showing some of his numbers from previous seasons. He's on pace to have like over 2,000 yards this year with the way that he's playing. Now we all know how the ebbs and flows of seasons go. It'd be crazy for him to keep this up, but he is absolutely balling, making big plays down the field. Davis Alexander rolled out to the right on one play, and Tyson Philpott was on the backside dig, ran all the way across the field. Davis threw him a perfect ball, caught it. He got absolutely smoked. Helmet flies off, hangs onto the ball. I just love the confidence that he's playing with. Then you've got Tyler Snead out there as well. I mean, the way that they're able to push the ball downfield with those two and Davis, the way that he plays the football game, man, it is really exciting to watch those guys go to work. Davis throws for 345 yards and 2 touchdowns. Got a little banged up in this game. Had a defensive lineman kind of roll up into his knee, and then he got his ankle twisted up there towards the end of the game. He's a warrior. He's a dog. You can just tell he has that mindset, and I know him personally, so knowing the way that he competes in everything, whether it's playing bags in the driveway or a training session on the field or a real football game, he's the same guy through and through. I know that he's going to always stay in games. I just hope he's okay getting banged up like that. Montreal, coming off the loss last week to Edmonton, overtime, the way they came back out and were able to respond to a team in Ottawa that felt like their back was against the wall, had to get a win, and still continue to make big plays in clutch moments, says a lot about this team and where they're going to head this season. But at the end of the day, they need to clean some things up, especially on special teams, give up a few big returns, and they end up giving a late return touchdown to Pimpleton there at the end of the game, which put it within 2 points, and then they got to recover an onside kick, which isn't ideal, but they've given up 3 return touchdowns this season. They've only played 3 games, 3 or 4 games. Yeah, 4 games. So they're 3-1 right now. So to give up 3 return touchdowns in 4 games, we got to clean that up. We can't be giving up easy field position, especially late in the game like that, because special teams, again, as you get later in the season, playing in the playoffs and championship football, that's the stuff that makes or breaks games for you. Excuse me, especially in a crowded East Division where you've got Toronto humming, you've got Hamilton, who is just has one of the best receiving corps in the league, and then you've got Montreal. I mean, that's a very crowded East Division. So those little things, playing really sound 3-phase football, offense, defense, special teams is going to really matter for them. Okay, let's talk about. People are saying the most prestigious award in the CFL. Oh, and this guy, he didn't throw for the most yards this week, but he just plays winning football. When his team needs a drive or a big play in a moment, he makes it. Every time he seems to come through, extending plays with his feet, stepping up in the pocket, launching bombs, critical first downs with his legs. He does that. He got banged up this week in the fourth quarter, end of the game, up 6 points. Got to have it. Got to get a couple first downs to ice the game. What does he do on second and long? Drops back, throws a vertical ball, seam ball, right up the hash, absolute dot, 50 yards down the field, ices the game, puts his team in a position to kick a field goal, go up 9 points with a minute left in the game and ice the game. Davis Alexander, mentally, physically tough, the way he sees the field and comes through in clutch moments. Davis Alexander, you were seeing it this week, buddy. Hope we can chat soon, man. All right, let's look ahead to this coming week because we got some more great games coming up. We got Toronto at Calgary. I'm excited about this game because, again, Calgary coming off a big win in BC. They're getting momentum going on the right track. Toronto goes to Sask and pulls one out there in a hostile environment. Calgary's looking to build on this past week, and they have to find a way to slow down Toronto's offense. No one has really done it. Chad Kelly's throwing for 400 yards every single week. Obviously, he threw for 320 this week, but really pushing the ball down the field and their offense is extremely explosive. We talked about the receiving core a little bit earlier, but I think the way that Calgary can do that is just try to confuse Chad Kelly with different looks and get pressure. You got Moncrief at Sam. Let's bring him a couple times to see if he can't get home. You got to try to find a way to force his hand, and in the RPO game, let's try to get him to hand the ball off and not let him get outside, because he is dangerous with extending plays with his legs and getting on the edge. And then if Vernon Adams can play clean ball on the other side of things, like I said earlier, 3 touchdowns, no picks. If he can consistently do that, especially with Dietrich Mills in the running game, they're going to be a really dangerous offense, and I'm excited to see that matchup this week. And we've got Sask going to Ottawa. Look, Ottawa battled this past week. We just talked about it. They simplified their offense. During the broadcast, they talked about Ryan Didwitty saying they only had like 45 plays in the offense. And I think they got to continue to do that. I'm always a proponent of that, is do what you do well. Let's simplify. Let's execute at an extremely high level. And they did that this week. So I'm looking for them to kind of replicate that. They did some really unique stuff, getting the running back out of the backfield, getting 6 people out, which I'm a proponent of, especially if you can protect. So they're going to need their playmakers to step up and maybe even need another crib kick from Pimpleton. He's got some burst, man. I love watching him catch the ball. Even on the outside, he catches the ball, gets upfield, makes a guy miss. He made some great plays this week. I'm a fan of his game. So Ottawa, if they want to get this one done, they're going to need to keep things simple on offense, need their playmakers to step up, and maybe fabricate explosive play on special teams in some way, shape, or form. And we've got Edmonton going to BC again. They're playing in Kelowna. And who would have thought the records would look the way they are? Edmonton's sitting at 3-0. BC sitting at 0-3. Their back's against the wall. They have to go get this one. This is a must-win. You're talking about pulling out all the stops. Last week against Calgary, they have a double pass back to Nathan Rourke. Any bullets that you have in the chamber need to be fired this week if you're BC. Especially, you don't want Edmonton to move to 4-0. Sask looks dangerous. Calgary just beat you. Winnipeg is a championship culture, so you got to go get a win this week and pull out all the stops to do that. Defensively, moving some things around, giving different looks and seeing what you can do. But ultimately, if you want to get ahead of Edmonton, you have to stop the run. So you might have to play some heavy boxes and play some man coverage in the back end. And that might just be the way it is, because you got to slow down Justin Rankin and try to get out ahead of that run game. Because if they establish the run, they're going to be extremely hard for anybody to beat. And then the final game of the weekend, we got Winnipeg going to Hamilton. Hamilton, always a tough place to play. It was always a tough place for me to play in Winnipeg in general. You know, it's always windy there. It's always kind of a hostile environment. It's not the nicest city in the world. It's gritty. It's the Hammer. But Hamilton's coming off a bye too, so they'll be fresh, and they just saw Winnipeg. So Winnipeg's really going to have to answer to some of these issues that came up in the first time they played. They got to stop the run game, because Hamilton was just able to stay ahead of the sticks the whole game, stay in second and medium, stay in second and short. And if you do that, the whole playbook's open to you. So you got to find a way to stop the run. And then when Bo's back there, you got to find a way to get pressure with 4 guys, because you can't let him get comfortable. If he gets comfortable, he'll pick you apart. And we've talked ad nauseum about how explosive this Hamilton receiving core is. You got to find a way to pressure Bo so he can't just sit back there and extend the ball down the field and let his receivers get yacked. So cleaning up the mental errors for Winnipeg. Can't be turning the ball over, especially on the road. Can't have special teams errors, and just have to find a way to stiffen up on defense. Offensively, they've done a good job moving the ball this season. So if they can continue to do that on offense and find a way to slow things down with the Hamilton offense, they're going to have a chance here on the road. All in all, guys, just another electric week of CFL football. I'm already looking forward to this next week. If you're not watching the CFL, you need to dial in on this, because this is electric ball, and you're not going to see this type of explosiveness even in the NFL. So tap in with the CFL this summer. You will not regret it. Guys, if you're watching this video, you made it this far, leave a comment, like, subscribe, shoot me a message. I try to respond to everybody because I appreciate everyone's support that they've shown me on this journey. I'm learning, I'm growing just alongside of you guys. I appreciate all your support. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, that's how you see it like Strev.